Hello, you're
Hello.
next.
Thanks everybody for sticking through. We're the last group, so yay.
Oops, sorry. You keeping time, Francis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me set up the stopwatch real quick for a timer. Okay. I'm ready. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Francis Aquino,
My name is Joshua Agostinas.
and our project is the circadian rhythm. As a city of dramatic contrasts, Los Angeles spans a vast range of geographies, climates, conditions, and communities that pose challenges and opportunities. This proposed design explores spaces to enhance resiliency by empowering the individual users, the community, the city, and the region. It also emphasizes the effort in providing a public setting for a learning experience. Rich in history, Baldwin Hills Parklands is located right where its earliest dated occupation is Tongvaland, landform drilled for oil and actively used as oil fields. Used as a reservoir and its transformation into a recreational area to today. Baldwin Hills is also one of the most densely populated communities of 70% Spanish speaking communities, female dominant, and mostly populated by 65 years and older residents within the LA area. With sweeping views, recreational areas, and large swaths of native plants and wildlife, the Baldwin Hills are a much loved open space and landmark in LA. Over the course of the region's development, the role of the Baldwin Hills has shifted dramatically from foraging ground for the native Tongva people to sheep and cattle grazing area to oil field, residential neighborhood, and island of wildlife habitat. In the very long-term history of the LA region, the Baldwin Hills have played a crucial role in the movement of water, formation of habitats. Although many of these historic habitats of coastal prairie, flats, and vernal pools have been lost to development and in the channelization of the LA River, the intact coastal scrub habitat of the Baldwin Hills provides a glimpse into LA's past.
Looking closer at Kenneth Hahn Recreation Center, the park is filled with various activities and several hiking trails within the area. According to a survey conducted by the Loyola Marymount University, some of the most popular activities here are walking, enjoying nature, and jogging. Um, while many people visit this park, 57% of visitors actually drive to this location. The reason so many people drive to this location is a result of being in between two major roads, La Cienega and La Brea. Other than those two roads, it is very difficult to access by any other means. That, coupled with the fact that about 63% of the visitors recorded are from the greater Los Angeles area, means that the people closest to the site, neighborhoods such as Baldwin Hills and Culver City, do not visit this site regularly. Only about 13% of people surveyed lived within Baldwin Hills. Going a little closer at looking at accessibility and connectivity, we were trying to find any other means of accessing the park, particularly how easy or not easy locals could access the site. Looking at possible access points, we were concerned with it being walkable and being within a 1 mile radius. What we found is that the closest possible access points for the locals of Baldwin Hills were closed off. The two best examples of this are Cloverdale Avenue and Padilla Street. Both streets have the best access to the Bowl Loop Trail, but are always closed off.
These are just a few images showing existing conditions and potential opportunities around the site. The goal for the site is to redefine Baldwin Hills parklands through cohesively connecting physical, social, and ecological systems by energy resilience, which is providing equitable access to clean environment and essential goods and services. The second is enhanced wildlife habitat and connectivity, which is increasing biodiversity, open space, and the tree canopy coverage by using native or sustainable species in landscaping. The third is environmental sustainability, that which focuses on water, stormwater management, and also sustainable development and green infrastructure to address stormwater runoff. The fourth is physical access and safety, also known as the equitable accessibility, to improve, enhance, and connect the city's multimodal transportation opportunities. Last but not least, community resilience, It is also for social and community cohesion resilience, creating a safe space for community members to build and strengthen relationships, collaborate, participate in decision making, and foster a sense of place and inclusiveness year round. The proposed framework begins by looking closer at the site's existing conditions and areas of opportunities. With one vehicular access point located on La Cienega Boulevard, additional strategies for connecting surrounding communities to this park are needed. Five strategies are listed to the right side of the spread. The first one is highlighted in red, which is equitable accessibility. The second one is community resilience, highlighted in blue. In pink, energy resilience, showing you right where the power corridor is existing. The fourth one is enhanced wildlife habitat, that is currently circled right on the map, showing you patch habitats right near Baldwin Hills. And the last one is environmental sustainability, showing you the existing green infrastructure at the visitor center. However, we are to enhance green infrastructure opportunities on site as well.
The vision is to combine the existing Walk for Health initiative that is existing in the Bowl Loop Trail, but give users more variety of the exercise while at the same time providing more forms of transportation. This would create a bike path connecting Stoneview Park to the Bowl Loop Trail. This would also transform the visitor center into a main hub, which would house bike rentals, and a cafe. um, we would also sprinkle around green roof bus stops, which would increase biodiversity, as well as sprinkling around bike repair stations and bike rental kiosks, which would encourage multimodal transportation. As for the framework, for these diagrams, we're looking at the main road leading up to the visitor center. And we were looking at the existing street conditions, which is just a normal, typical 30-foot street with a 5-foot sidewalk. The first thing we would implement is the addition of a shared bike lane. This would be a class 3 bike lane. It's a street that's designated for bike travel that is shared with motor vehicles, as well as lowering the green corridor to contrast the existing eucalyptus trees, as well as providing more lush vegetation by including grasses and whatnots and those green roofed bus stops.
Illustrated on the spread, you will find a proposed conceptual site design. In order to reorient you, up top, you will find a regional map along with an immediate map that shows a boundary box right where the proposed conceptual site design is. Here you will find locations where the programs are located within the site. They are numbered accordingly, one for the hub, two for the demonstration garden bioswale, and so on and so forth.
This spread is illustrating the physical and connective infrastructure that will be located on site. The first of which is going to be the amphitheater. This is a educational outdoor gathering area to learn more about various infrastructure that is here, like the edible garden. Um, this next diagram is looking at the parking spots. We were able to retain every single parking spot located on site. And the last is looking at green infrastructure, again, emphasizing that shared bike lane, as well as highlighting the bioswale, the permeable pavers located in the parking spots and in the edible garden, as well as the solar panels. This diagram is illustrating mobility and connectivity. Again, really want to emphasize that shared bike lane as it's a major part to the framework, as well as showing how it would look when pedestrians access any portion of the site.
Uh, the strategy illustrated on this spread is environmental sustainability, that then focuses on water, stormwater management. In order to address the strategy of environmental sustainability through the lens of stormwater management, the comparison of the pervious versus impervious surfaces on site through the intervention of the on site permeability has actually increased by 21%. Increasing the site's capacity to act as a sponge allows infiltration to reduce runoff, help reduce erosion, and facilitate groundwater recharge.
The spread is illustrating programming and placemaking, but we really want to highlight the educational programming that is on site. That would be the bioswale, number 2, number 4, the photovoltaic panel shade, number 8, the California edible garden, and number 11, the amphitheater.
In this diagram, a strategy of enhanced wildlife habitat and connectivity, as well as energy resilience, is illustrated. The three main threads to demonstrate and teach replicable resilience strategies related to the three main themes are: the first one, water, that then creates a swift move from east to west, showing you where the water actually goes from and to. The second one is habitat, that goes from north to south and south to north. That shows the power to pollinator corridor upon where the existing power corridor is, as well as the birds and butterfly fly path where it actually meets to the north side of it. And the third is energy. This energy is actually created along the site, within the site, that shows the solar panel connecting right through the photovoltaic panel as well as the biomimetic structure. To talk about the biomimetic modular shade structure, these are basically modular, replicable, scalable, and accessible biomimetic design solution for resiliency from an individual scale to a community scale. In its process, people can come to the site and see the design being demonstrated in real life, as it provides a shade canopy over the top of the gathering area, showing all of the different options. As for scalability of impact, individuals can take this knowledge home with them and back to their communities and apply it to their specific needs. For example, it can be as small as a shade structure for a home, or it could provide a shade for a church and or a school. As a community can help empower one small community to be cohesive enough and also addressing homelessness. Or small businesses and restaurants can help provide more outdoor seating and fight urban heat island effect. To go deeper into the technical drawing, here on the spread you will find materiality that shows you a suite of options for accessible, affordable, and it also closes urban waste streams, which is also disaster ready as well. A couple of examples regarding the materials are: these are reused lumber from the urban forest, also industrial and commercial facility refuse, basically, for example, collected by RS Demo and provided for free to nonprofits holding 501c3 status. Also, the expansion of flexibility, that the succession of the design actually allows you to scale up and scale down, creating an either lasting or temporary solutions.
This is an illustration of the bioswale, which would be west of the visitor center next to the main road. It's essentially a living machine that helps manage runoff and filters rainwater. A good example would be first flush. So first flush occurs at the beginning of any rain event, and the water contains heavy pollutants. Um, but with the help of plants with deep fibrous roots such as grasses and rocks, the pollutants will be separated from the water. These pollutants include hydrocarbons, nitrates, phosphates, suspended solids, stuff like that. But the inclusion of the bioswale will benefit the community by recharging groundwater basins, attracting wildlife. It is pedestrian friendly and will improve site aesthetics.
Upon arrival, whether it's through the use of public transportation or the shuttle link, vehicular use, pedestrian walkway, or even biking, the demonstration garden acts as a welcome garden, showing its bioswale how it not only functions as that, but also provides wildlife habitat and learning experience as passerbys interact with it. The bioswale parking lot median manages stormwater as a nature based solution. Proceeding is the visitor center, which then offers amenities such as public restroom, cafe, information center, and even a small museum regarding the history of the oil field adjacent to the site.
Proceeding forward, this is a view looking west from the visitor center, and you would see that there are solar panels present. This would provide EV vehicles with charging stations, as well as looking at the parking lot, which the parking spots would have permeable pavers, the bioswale, and the wildlife it attracts, but as well as cyclists and drivers sharing this lot in harmony.
After your visit inside the visitor center, you will then be greeted by an outdoor extension of the hub, providing user experience of the California native edible garden, where visitors can learn how to forage just like how native Tongva people used to, or be under the biomimetic shade structure using amenities right under it, such as the outdoor kitchen, or learning about how the butterfly come about to life. The Outdoor Extension Hub also provides other amenities such as amphitheater where workshops can be held, or school gatherings, or even a rentable space for events such as quinceañeras, birthdays, weddings, food events, etc. Lastly, let's not forget the accessibility of rentable bikes for an easy get around the Baldwin Hills Parklands area, and the permeable pavers that help collect runoff. Thus, this entire site is designed to explore spaces to enhance resiliency by empowering the individual users, the community, the city, and the region. It also emphasizes the effort in providing a public setting for a learning experience. Um, and that concludes our presentation. Thank you all so much for sticking through our final review. We are done. We're the
Thank you.
last group. Thanks.
Okay, I just want to say comments and questions, but after you're done, please join the main room because we'll have a wrap up. Okay.
Okay.
Great job, you guys.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and jump in. Amazing presentation. I really enjoyed it. The Baldwin Hills area over there by the Kennepon Park is really beautiful. I think it's like a very like hidden jewel, especially with a lot of the concrete infestation that's in South LA. And so I really appreciated a lot of the context you brought to it in regards to the history. Um, of like the Tongva native people, the sheep herding and things like that, which is a powerful history because over the years it has changed as far as what it's been used for and how the land has been exploited for extractive economic practices. So with that being said, I feel, and maybe I missed it because I feel like you were saying something about the photo something that was on site. There's like a photo something.
Is it the
Um,
photovoltaic?
yes, the photovoltaic. So is that okay? So that's a panel shade. But okay, so what I was speaking to was this opportunity to bring this narrative of history into the site. So having locations on site that explains this history of Tongva native land and how it was used by the native people, or the history of how, people who moved into the area used it for sheep herding, like having that historical context of understanding how the land and site has evolved, especially because you already have, accounted for that history in your research. I think it would be powerful to kind of speak to that in your project. Another thing that I wanted to speak to is on the slide where you had the diagram of the trails. And this may just be me, but I would say that one. Oh, it was probably a couple of them. It was that one and then the one before that you just saw. Go back a couple of slides. And one more. Yeah, and then one more. This one. I would say the trail color, and this may be a small change, but I would say like make it a different color that's more like prominent, because I really couldn't see it. I was like, it's the trail on here. And then I looked, I was like, okay, there it is. And so that's a small thing, but like making that a different color, a darker color, that's easier to see. And then one of the things that like I really liked about your site is you have this powerful energy collection that's going on in regards to water capture, as well as harvesting sunlight through your solar panels. Is there a way that you have explained how that energy is going to be used outside of teaching people how to do it? Are you going to outsource that energy? Is there opportunity for it, or is that energy just for the site?
As for the solar panel, that is actually, I believe Josh touched on the EV vehicular charging area. So that is used for like electric cars or electric vehicles that's parking on that area to be able to do that. And also providing light when the sun goes down. That is actually like one of those LED lights automated already. As far as the bioswale, Josh?
In terms of what we're doing with the water is just pretty much going back into the ground, but there are opportunities to convert that into like like a gray water system. Maybe we could have that recirculate back to the visitor center because it is pretty close in proximity to the building. I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I think it like because hands down, amazing project, and like a lot of the things that you're building out, I think have a lot of potential in regards to how it can be used as a source for the community or a vendor of some sort to where you can monetize the operation of the farm, I mean of the site, and create like self-sustainable practices for the site to generate income. And so being able to spell that out or speak to that in relation to a lot of these great components of your project, I think would be awesome to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can go next. I want to say, first of all, this is really great. Really impressed with your work, Joshua and Francis. And I want to second the comment about the history. I appreciate you kind of looking into the history of the area. And, I do feel that it's important to know the history so that we can, start addressing present needs. For example, the oil fields and the legacy of the pollution coming from the oil fields, and how we can hopefully work towards justice in the area, right? To make sure that we can address everything that kind of comes from the pollution and the high traffic streets around there as well. But yeah, I really appreciated that part. One comment I also have is that I like how you're looking at how people kind of walk across or drive across or bike across the area, and how that might connect to the bowl loop. I think you recognize. One thing I will say is that I think there's a really steep incline like right after the visitor center. So one thing I would think of would be maybe how do you address safety there with bikers? People just kind of biking up and down that area, because I feel like that could be a place where people might get injured if they're not careful, right? Going down or up that incline. But yeah, no, that was really great. And then I'll also say that biomimetic, I can't pronounce that word. I practiced it a few times, but I couldn't get it. But I think that shade structure was really great. And I could see it also as like a training opportunity for the community, especially because, we often think about, how do we provide these solutions or these services for the community so that they can benefit from shade or whatever it may be. But, often we miss, those training and educational opportunities that can sometimes maybe even lead to like employment or stuff like that down the road, right? And so maybe like the community learning how to do this themselves, they could kind of really get into maybe figuring this out and doing it, as you mentioned, in their own communities and even benefiting from this knowledge. So I thought that was really great as well. And I think, I overall was really impressed with your work. Yeah, I appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Yeah, this biomimetic modular shade structure is basically just serving, more often than not, we normally would get, we would design shade structure and get stuck with it permanently. This is just like a framework to best serve at an individual scale, and also at a community scale of whether they want to downsize or like scale up, you know what I mean? And they're all connected. So in this shape in itself, it can be I guess like a succession. For instance, like for planting, when you're planting in forest, there's a forestation successions, but in this essence, this is more a biomimetic, where it mimics the succession of trees. And it can be temporary, it can be permanent, according to the user's needs.
I had a question for the group. You guys did an excellent job. I thought you had a great way of kind of laying everything from start to finish. Without taking too much time looking at the clock, I know it's almost 6, but this was the earlier part of the presentation when you were talking about 2 closed off points. And I was just a little curious if you had some, suggestions on how to open those up. I know you had also made a point about locals not exactly utilizing the area, and I wanted to know why and what were some reasons for that. You know, with projects, that's going to be kind of a trend moving forward, looking at project findings and addressing environmental justice and accessibility. And I think as we kind of like move forward and shape projects for the city, these are some like considerations to have like in future. So I just was curious about why those 2 points were closed off and any solutions that you might have to engage the local folks.
I guess I could answer that. As for those 2 points on like Cloverdale and Padilla Street, I don't particularly know why these sections are closed off to the public. My guess is just because the park is technically like a private property and it closes after a certain time. And I don't think the neighborhood would be exactly too savvy on a bunch of people parking in front of their houses to go to this park. Um, we were thinking about implementing like these bike rental kiosks, but some kiosks would have like food and like information about the park out here at these 2 closed portions. And hopefully we could like expand like that little bike trail that goes out into the neighborhood, and hopefully that could be an incentive enough for the neighborhood to use to go to this park much more. Because as it stands, I think when we did this site visit, I drove up to this point, and I think it took me like 20 minutes to drive all the way around to this point. Just because La Cienega, there's like no U-turn for like a good mile or two, and even if you do get that U-turn, and you have to go all the way across through La Brea again, and it's like a nightmare driving over there.
And just to add to regarding the 2 gated places, I think that was Padilla Street, I believe, and yeah,
Clover.
Padilla and Cloverdale Avenue entry. So Josh did mention that they were gated, and they're like, I think there are a few times, 3 times I have visited the site, and they were closed at different times. One time was the weekend during like really active hours. The other 2 times were a Monday and a Friday, and they were still closed. I think they were just permanently closed, but we're proposing, if the residents are really, cognizant about people parking on their area and like the quietness and like litter or things like that, we were proposing like perhaps like what state parks are, they would open like sunrise and then close the gate at sundown, something like that. Like that's just like a few ideas that Josh and I were thinking about.
Okay, great.
Okay, any other comments?
I just have a quick one. Yeah, I really appreciate your project, and it's really great that, because there's a history of extracting like natural resource on indigenous community land, that it's a great project to kind of rethink of the sustainable energy by proposing this structure using the fallen trees in the city and also the solar energy and things like that. And maybe that kind of their attitude and stewardship to the nature could kind of extend beyond to like maintenance of the park as well, because their respect to nature is always kind of given back. So maybe that could be part of the narrative as well. And maybe for like the idea of the park using the fallen trees, maybe other byproduct of from maintenance and plant could be used for like other design in the park as well. So yeah, so many possibility in your project, and good job.
Thank you.
Great job. Okay, could everyone move over to the main room, and we are going to all make some final comments, okay?
Anybody have anything they want to get off their chest? Too late. He's back.
Oh, he's back. He's back. He's back.
Nothing to see here.
Ray, are you talking to us? You're muted.
You're muted.
Hey, I'm surprised someone didn't flatten my tires in a parking lot. I pushed these guys really hard, all of them.
Well, it was in their best interest. You had their best interest at heart, Ray. That's clear.
Of course. And Carlos knows he was my student, so he survived. So
yeah,
and he works here now. So yeah, I guess everyone's going to survive. So we have just a little time. A lot of people did leave, and you know it's a long haul, and we're all tired, and this has been a tough one. But I want to just quickly say something quick, and then give it over to the students and the jurors to make some final comments. These students worked really hard. I've never seen a class work so hard, and this was totally virtual. This whole studio, it's the first studio I've done that's been completely virtual. And to see this kind of work just come from a screen, I mean, I think it gives a lot of hope to all of us. I mean, I'm emotional about it because they worked so hard on this project. And every single one of them is inspired. And done some really good work, and it will help a lot of communities. And many of you are here, so you'll all get the book. Obviously, they've been building it all semester, and I'm just so proud of their efforts. Of course, you know, we all comment as jurors. You know, you could have gone further, you could have gone this, and that's all great. We could have worked on this project for 10 semesters. It's so amazing, but you know, they all took a stance, and they did really well. And so I'm going to give it over to the students, and they want to say something to the clients and to the firm partners from all of them.
So on behalf of Ray's studio, Capstone, we really want to thank everybody who was involved, especially the clients who gave us a brilliant opportunity for us to be a part of this and feel more involved with the cities that we mostly live around, and also to the firms who have guided us all the way through, being our mentors, being the people we could ask questions to and feel comfortable with, talking about our design. And I certainly say from that, all of us here at Cal Poly Pomona, fourth year graduating class of 2021 from Ray's Capstone, we thank you very much for your efforts and your work with us.
Thank you.
You guys are awesome. Okay, I think we can just...
I was gonna, Ray, if I might, I've been practicing now for 42 years, and it was really something to watch these young, bright, eager faces, you know, and see this wonderful work. And, you know, as you get toward the tail end of your career in a profession you truly love, it's really comforting to know that the baton will be passed to a really passionate group of people. So here's to all of you.
Thank you.
Do any of the clients or jurors that are left have any final comments that they'd like to tell the students? I'm going to just leave that for the end, all about you guys.
We also thank Ray for being such an amazing final professor and all the faculty that has guided us all the way up until our final studio.
Thank you, Ray. We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
I just want to quickly say that I have been so inspired throughout this whole experience, watching your projects grow from your ideation stage to where they are now. And it's just been so impactful, not only to my own professional growth and insight, but it really is manifesting how our region will be developing, because you all will be developing it. And so I'm in spaces where we're discussing resiliency hubs with community-based organizations right now in communities like Boyle Heights. And of course, it brings excitement to me because I've taught lectures with you all about resiliency hubs, you know? And so seeing the amazing projects that you all have thought out, it really excites me for what we are building in our region. And we're going to be okay. You know, there's a lot of alignment on so many different levels, and it's because of great professors like Ray and great students like you all who are going into the workforce using a racial equity lens to build the new environment. That isn't the framework that has been practiced historically, but because of you all, it will be the practice moving forward.
Here, here.
Any other comments from any of the people that attended?
Yeah, I just want to say, Ray, it's such a treat. This is probably my second go around with your students, and I'm always like super impressed, just blown away by your dedication to your students and just the response that the students give to your dedication. I thought everything was just worthwhile participating in, thoughtful, elegant way of expressing their ideas. And I really look forward to seeing your students as colleagues. I mean, I could literally sit in one of these presentations and feel like I'm doing like a work, meeting or something. So I'm kudos to you all, and to do it in a pandemic, and just such a traumatic experience, but for you guys to like thrive and just grow. I'm just really excited for, having you all as colleagues. So hooray.
Yeah, I want to say something real quick on behalf of Climate Resolve. Just thank you to all the Cal Poly students. Thank you, Ray, for having us. Yeah, and I just wanted to say all the work was really amazing. I think I was really drawn in by the other projects, which I honestly didn't know much about, but I think the students really kind of came up with some amazing designs that really spoke to the communities that are there, and they were really engaging. So I'm super impressed by what all the students did, and really happy to see all the designs that the students came up with for the Baldwin Hills Conservancy project as well. Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much and congratulations for all the amazing work that you all did. Really, really great, and I'm really impressed.
Great. Anyone else? Any students want to say anything? You're good?
I think kind of all of us are at that same point of like, whoa, we just finished something that's 4 years or 4 years plus in the making. So it's definitely a really emotional moment, but I just want to say congratulations to all of us. We deserve a pat on the back and a hug and a face mask and a bottle of wine. I don't know, but it's been a really hard year for so many reasons. And just thank you to all of our support systems. Like, without Ray, we would not be producing work at this level, whether we like it or not. And we're reaping the benefits of that hard work. So I just want to say shout out to all of us. We deserve it. We're worth it. We made it.
And I took a screenshot of all of you, so I'm going to send it. Tracy said, could we take a group picture?
We weren't ready.
Oh, you weren't? Okay. So
No.
you want me to take one on the phone or a screenshot? I'll do a screenshot.
Okay.
Everybody show their face. Okay. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Yeah, I'll take one with my phone too, just in case there's a malfunction. Everybody go. All righty, we're good. Any final comments? Or should we let them sleep? Maybe we should just let them sleep. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you.
Yeah.
Gabriel. Thank you, Mariana. The clients. I miss Jenny had to leave. Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Erie. I don't know who else is left. Ronell, thank you so much. Ava, Kurt, Carlos. Say hi to your cohort, Mr. Ben.
I will.
All right. Thank you so much, Carmelita and Joey, for showing. And we'll give you the work, and you could just post it everywhere. How's that? And hopefully stuff happens.
Well, you can
right?
bet on that.
Yeah, we want stuff to happen. We just don't want.
We're going to make it happen for sure.
We need stuff to happen, right? And thank you, Kevin Finch, he's been the staple, showing up at every review. Kevin is amazing and awesome. Everybody knows that. So thank you very much. Congratulations to all of you.
Here, here.
All right, bye.